absolutely blasted by the Knicks. Let's talk about it. What does it mean? It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we start, if you're new here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we're also going to gotta be careful. We got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, who are kind enough to support the channel. Use promo code HoopsNerd when you play $5. Get $50 instantly. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. The app is really easy to use. To make a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats. You can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including Utah, California, and Texas. Best of all, Prize Picks will give you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups. Basketball season is here, and there's no better time to get in. Just use promo code HoopsNerd and download the app now. That's one word, HoopsNerd. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now, I should have told you, you should have picked the under today if you were doing the Prize Picks. That was the easiest pick today. I did not have time. But guess what? The Prize Picks is fun. Go check it out. Be responsible. And use promo code HoopsNerd. I would really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into this. You guys, we had the Jazz yesterday put everything in jeopardy by beating the Brooklyn Nets. Utah's front office and owner have not seemed to understand how important this draft is, how good this draft is, and how precarious the position they are now in is. It's not great, guys. It's tough. And, yes, the Jazz get beat today. And I know there's people that are like, well, the Jazz lost. Why aren't you happy? Well, this was a scheduled loss. This was a back end of a back-to-back on the road. The Jazz have not been very good on the road. Shout out to the Boston Celtics who couldn't beat this Jazz team in Boston. Pathetic. But at least it is a loss. I guess the Jazz could have won this game. But I will say that this type of game where Utah gets just absolutely destroyed by the New York Knicks, this game was over in the second quarter. It might not even been the second quarter when this game was over. Utah was down by like 23 to 3 to start the game. There was at no point this Utah Jazz team was in this game, and it is a good reminder. And I hope Ryan Smith was watching, although I doubt it. I don't know if Ryan even has League Pass and watches anyone other than the Jazz. And does he watch all the Jazz games? Did he watch tonight? Because you and I did, and it was bad. It was really bad. Utah was down like 23 to 3, and I'm telling you right now, Ryan and Austin Ainge apparently think the Jazz are closer to a play-in team than other people think. Well, I'm telling you right now, if the Utah Jazz were playoff competitive, I don't care that this was a back end of a back-to-back on the road. Playoff competitive teams don't go down 23 to 0 to start, right, Wiggle? Right? The Jazz aren't there yet. It's not to say that they don't have good players. Keontae George is looking like a future star. We know that Lauri Markkanen is a very good borderline all-star. He's not an all-star. Tonight was just another example of that. And we've got some things to talk about with that. But they are on against bad teams. They can beat the bad teams. We saw that yesterday. They can beat Brooklyn. Or they can beat average teams who play poorly. Right? Or even like the Rockets. They beat the Rockets who played really badly, and Utah beat them at home. We're barely able to eke out a win against them. Right? So it's not like the Jazz can't get some of these wins, and it's not like Lauri Markkanen hasn't had a good season, but the Jazz aren't there yet. The New York Knicks were one crazy bucket away from Halliburton to being in the finals. And Utah had at no point any resemblance of competitiveness against this Knicks team. It's just a reality. The Knicks are very good. Speaking of the Knicks, They were pretty much full health today, it looks like, and they looked like it. They just blasted Utah. Mikal Bridges, let's see. Some of these guys didn't even have to play. I mean, they didn't even have to play their starters more than like 20-something minutes. They did play Jalen Brunson for 30, and he annihilated Utah. Just absolutely took him out to the woodshed and just showed him what like a good team actually looks like. Towns was great. Brunson, great. Bridges only played 19, but he was solid. It's funny, Bridges is like the third or fourth best player on this team, and Utah tried to trade for him and called it big game hunting. What is this front office doing? What is this Utah Jazz front office? It's crazy, guys. I mean, the fact that they tried to trade for Bridges is wild. All reports are that that was a more serious thing than we realize. That was a Ryan Smith thing for sure. And on this Knicks team, he played 19 minutes. I mean, he was fine, but of all these players, that's the one the Jazz went for the big game hunting. Are you serious? And I haven't heard anything, about the Jazz and Giannis, but nothing makes sense, guys. I mean, last season, thank goodness they did tank, and they did fully tank, which was good, except for some games at the start of the season. But they did do a good job last year. They ended up with the best pick in lottery odds and ended up with the 5th pick, got Ace Bailey. We all know how that went. Anyways, let's talk about the Jazz. Guys, I have to say, this Lauri Markkanen season is feeling very, very fool's gold to me a little bit. It's against a good team tonight in the New York Knicks, and this is what Lauri does. 5 for 13, 2 for 6 from 3, 9 rebounds, 18 points. I mean, solid stuff, but Markkanen's being paid, and I know everyone gets mad at me but I'm sorry, this is just the reality. The idea that Lauri Markkanen wouldn't be tradable, the Jazz are like wanting to build around Markkanen and actually make trades to like add to this, kind of wild to me, because first off, I don't know who they're trading for. That matches salary. Like if you go look at the Jazz salary structure, Markkanen by far makes the most money, and then the next closest, you got players making like 14. So in fact, let's just go to it. Utah Jazz salaries. Let's go to Basketball Reference right here. Utah Jazz team payroll. So Lauri Markkanen makes 46. The next closest is Jusuf Nurkic. Utah has to match salaries if they're going to trade to add someone to this team. So what makes me so confused with this Jazz team is nothing makes sense right now with what they're doing. What makes sense for the Jazz is to trade off players like Svi Mykhailiuk, like Jusuf Nurkic, like Kyle Anderson. I mean, the top 3 moneymakers are Markkanen, Nurkic, and Anderson, and these salaries do fall off. But then Utah is keeping Walker Kessler on the books so that they can potentially get someone in free agency and then re-sign Walker Kessler and go over the cap. But if Utah doesn't, top available NBA free agents. Let's just do this together. This is just, I don't care. Utah lost by 30. I'm grateful that everyone's watching. Let's go on an adventure together. 2025 free agency tracker. Let's see. Let's go back. Does Spot Track have one that's good? Let's see. I love Spot Track, by the way. 2026 NBA free agents. Thank you, Spot Track. You're the best. All teams, 2026, all positions. All right, we're back. My stupid internet dropped. I thought we were over this. Good grief. Okay, so 2026 free agents. I guess you can go for LeBron James. Are we all back? Good. I guess get ready for Utah to sign Trae Young. The Hawks are better without Trae Young. Watch the Jazz sign Trae Young. I would lose my mind. Ryan Smith, I bet you, has texted Danny and Austin about it. Hey guys, have you seen Trae Young? Have you heard Trae Young went to an All-Star game? He the level of understanding of the NBA with Ryan Smith right now. I have all doubts now that he understands even some of the simplest things. I really do. I don't think he gets it at all. I don't think he gets it at all, guys. I'm actually extremely worried. Zach LaVine. Does anyone want to bring in Zach LaVine through free agency? James Harden. Anyone interested in that? CJ McCollum. He was a throw-in playing on Washington right now. They can't win a game. Chris Middleton. Pretty washed. I guess the Jazz could go out after Kristaps Porzingis. They were interested in him before. So maybe Porzingis, but why would you re-sign Walker Kessler if you go out and give 20 to 30 million to Kristaps Porzingis? Hartenstein, maybe? That's actually an interesting one, but that's a club option. So let's see. I'm going to open this. Club option. Yeah. So they're not giving up Hartenstein. Sorry. Andrew Wiggins. Is that moving the needle very much for you guys? Tobias Harris. Utah could use Tobias Harris in salaries if they did a Detroit trade, but that's a throw-in. That's filler. Are you signing Tobias Harris, and is that changing anything? No. Fred VanVleet? Probably not, but that's a player option. With him coming off a severe injury, he's picking that up. Draymond Green. Does anyone want Draymond Green? He's probably picking up his player option. So you're looking at something like Anthony Simons, the return of John Collins, Terry Rozier, who's in gambling trouble. Price Picks, $5 for 50. Use promo code HoopsNerd. Does Harrison... Do you see what I'm telling you here? The way that Utah is going to make things work better is through the draft and through potentially trading for some sort of salary filler to get more picks. Right? Like, that's what it is. There is no such thing as like free agency anymore. It is all through trade. So maybe there's some sort of move out there that you can make that, you know, like there's some guys out here that might fill gaps. Like Mitchell Robinson is actually solid, but I don't, 15 million for Mitchell Robinson. Austin Reeves is player option. He's going to turn this down. You can bet that because he's going to get paid. But guys, you go through here and there's like lots of like middle of the road players, I don't know. This is the point. Like we already have George Niang. So I don't know, guys. You want to fill your team with draft assets, and Utah is absolutely ruining it. Yes, they lost the game today, but the damage was done yesterday. This was a scheduled loss because the Utah Jazz are not a very good basketball team right now. They can beat up bad teams, and they can be close to beating middle-of-the-road teams at home. On the road, not so much. And so that's where we're at. And that's why if I'm the Jazz and I'm building around Lauri Markkanen, that's fine, but you need to start making sure that you lose more of these games if you are keeping Lauri Markkanen. That is it. That is how you do it. Markkanen needs to have some sort of back spasm happen right away because Utah does not own their pick, and we've talked about this incessantly. They do not own their pick unless they're bottom 8. Yes, Dallas is playing better. Yes, Charlotte won today, but guess what? It does not matter if these teams win if Utah is outpacing them and wins. Utah is at 8-14. They have 2 games to catch up to the Dallas Mavericks to just be where they're at. And Charlotte. Utah plays Oklahoma City. They are not going to win that game. But guess what? That still doesn't catch them up to these guys. You are hoping, and then guess what? Utah plays Dallas soon. I better not see Lauri Markkanen play against the Dallas Mavericks when they play them. Let's go look that up. Utah Jazz. What's it called? Utah Jazz schedule. So Utah plays, let's see here. Utah plays the Thunder on Sunday. They then play the Grizzlies, who look pretty good. Cedric Coward has kind of dipped, but he played well today. They seem to be figuring it out. Zach Edey looks awesome. Mavericks, Utah has to lose these 2 games, guys. There is no doubt. If they win one of these games, that is just terrible team management. Utah has to lose to the Grizzlies, has to lose to the Mavericks, has to. Capital HASTO. Has to. If they do not, it is really very unlikely that they are going to get to where they want to be. And I'm not kidding. Every single one of these losses matters. And when you consider last year, and I got reminded of some of these things on Twitter because people seem to forget. People seem to give me a hard time for telling people that it's important to lose these games. For everyone that tells you, like, oh, the Jazz will lose, chill, calm down, calm down. The Jazz, well, guess what? Last year, when the Jazz tanked harder than everyone, and that was trying to keep Lauri Markkanen, apparently Ryan just liked Cooper Flagg. I got things to say that I got to keep to myself. But he wanted Cooper Flagg, and apparently anyone else wasn't good enough for the Jazz. Don't know why that is. But wanted Cooper Flagg, doesn't win it, throws a tantrum, hissy fit, apparently talks to some rando on the street. I should share that tweet, by the way. It's actually pretty funny now when you look back at it. But some rando on the tweet that was on the street that was disappointed and then goes back and says, the goal is still there. Well, guess what? The goal apparently changed because he just wanted to win games and probably get more people to the stadium and buy more tickets. I don't know. But here's the thing. Utah has to do something. They are not, if they do not keep this pick, it is absolutely devastating. It is beyond devastating. And they do not understand, apparently, the gravity of this. And like I was saying, back to what I was saying, every single one of these things matters because even last year, like I was saying, when they were tanking hard, they tied with the Wizards at the end of the year. They were tied. Going to lose the 5th spot, the first spot in the lottery odds, that is, ensuring them the 5th spot, unless the Wizards, Bub Carrington, hits the game winner. They wouldn't have got it. So last year, when they were tanking harder than they are now, they still didn't ensure it completely. They got lucky. Really lucky. And people have the gall to say that Utah, like, just be fine with it. It's okay. Don't worry. No. Last year, they barely got it, and they were tanking hard. And this year, they're just treating it like it'll just work out. It's like me in geometry in high school when I turned around and had to repeat it. Because I said, oh, it'll work out. No, it did not work out. I had to do it again. It sucked a lot. You need to do your homework. Okay? That was a bad idea by me, and what the Jazz are doing is very bad now. It is hard to make this up. Have we already forgotten what happened to the 2 seasons before last season? Utah did this same dumb strategy, deciding that just Ryan Smith just wanting to win because it feels good, and then they ended up with the 9th and 10th picks because they weren't able to make up the ground. And those were in drafts. I mean, that one of those was the Wembanyama draft, but the other one wasn't that great, and they still couldn't make up the ground. How are they going to make up the ground in this setting with multiple generational talents? Do you think that the other teams that are in front of the Jazz aren't going to do the exact same thing? The only thing that gives me some sort of comfort with that strategy is the fact that the Clippers and the Pelicans have no incentive to be bad, but they can't figure out how to win. And so it's not a given. The Clippers are in absolute turmoil, sent Chris Paul away. And they still can't figure out how to win games. They've only won 6 games, and they're trying their best. The New Orleans Pelicans are having really interesting seasons from Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. They can't figure out how to win anything. Fired their coach already. There are some signs of life with the Pelicans, but Utah cannot just treat this like a given. And even if these 2 just eventually figure out how to win enough games to pass the Utah Jazz. That only puts Utah at 7. Now, maybe Charlotte and Dallas figure it out, but they both own their picks. Do you think at a certain point they aren't going to just shut things down? It takes the Dallas Mavericks shutting down Cooper Flagg, and they're ahead of Utah just like that. So don't act like this can just work out. That's what makes me annoyed, is people who don't know what they're talking about, spouting it off, forgetting the history of what's happened just recently, and also what's going on now. You act as if some of these GMs are dumb. They're not dumb. Well, some of them are dumb. Joe Dumars of the New Orleans Pelicans, he is dumb. He is very dumb. But that's why they're 3-20. But I ain't giving our front office any sort of credit anymore. Austin Ainge hasn't proved anything to me. And Ryan Smith now, we're 4 years in. We're 5-6 years in, whatever it is. This ain't no honeymoon phase anymore. Okay? We got a lot of evidence on this and a lot of evidence of this. The good things tend to be stadium related and money making related and like experience related, so more people buy tickets. But the decisions, what are the decisions that they have made with Ryan Smith as the owner in terms of basketball strategy that have been effective and good? I thought the things that Danny Ainge clearly did that were really good, getting what he got for Donovan Mitchell. Utah already has Lauri Markkanen from that, which should have been traded for awesome assets. But now Utah's made it more difficult to make that happen. The Wolves trade, which got you Walker Kessler, although they're bungling that. He's an injured player that's now unrestricted restricted free agent. We might see someone give him a crazy offer. We'll see. But also we got the Keontae George pick from the Wolves, and that miraculously has turned into a nice player. What if Keontae George wasn't playing at the level he's playing at? What if Keontae George didn't take the leap this year? I'm super excited about Keontae George. You all know I have been Team Key from the beginning. I got the receipts. In fact, I was way up on Keontae George, and I actually regret deleting a certain tweet that I thought looked pretty bad. And now I'm like, I want to undelete said tweet. But anyways, what if he wasn't taking a leap this year and showing how good he is? I saw it, but it wasn't a given that he was going to take this leap, but he did. He did. Right? The Jazz don't have a lot of great basketball decisions outside of Danny Ainge. And I'm telling you right now, anyone who was talking bad about Danny Ainge, he was the one you should be thanking if you were pro-tank. He was the one. He was the one that made sure they got to where they did. He was the one that got you Ace Bailey. Right? I think Ace Bailey is going to be great. The coachability is there. And if he can figure out the handle, there's a lot of ifs, like if he can do this and if he can do that, then he turns into something really special. But at bare minimum, Utah has a starting caliber, high level starter at worst. But the upside is crazy. There's potential all-star and maybe even all-NBA upside with Ace Bailey, for sure. But we'll see. But they don't get that without Danny Ainge. Everything else, you've got to point to Ryan Smith and his inability to understand how important it is to get to the top of these drafts. And I guess I got to teach a class on tanking? I got to somehow teach a class, because it's not just winning the draft. Anyone that tells you it's just you didn't win Cooper Flagg, so it was a failure. Incorrect. That is wrong. You have lost your privilege to tweet and be believed. If you think that, you are not correct. There are two elements to tanking. Winning the lottery is one element, yes. And the worse you are, the more lottery balls you get, the more opportunities you get. That is absolutely part of it. But it is not 100% what it is. The other element is securing your floor. Utah, and I've said this, I don't know, I probably say this every day, multiple times, tweet it. I don't know. Maybe we got to start using MySpace. Will that get the information out there? Is AOL Messenger, or do I need to start doing that? Do I got to buy a billboard and put it up there? The floor is half the meaning of tanking. And especially in a year when you lose your pick if you're outside of the bottom 8. But by Utah getting the number 1 spot come lottery night, even losing, they secured the 5th pick. You can only drop 4 spots. So the better you are, the more secure you are where you stand. That's part of it. And in this draft, when you go, man, this is the weirdest ad on here. When you go to the mock draft here, if you are in the bottom 5, you get either Nate Ament, Koa Pete, or Mikal Brown Jr. By the way, go look at that Mikal Brown Jr. Louisville dunk that he had in his last games. Holy smokes. There's a lot of people that think Kingston Fleming's is top 5, right? Yusufu looks pretty good at Baylor. And there's people that have Jaden Quaintance top 5 because of the defense. Like, defensive difference maker through the roof. Lots of people love Yaxel Landeborg. Cameron Carr is shooting 43% or something like that on pull-up threes at Baylor. An absolute lights-out shooter. Could be more than that. The Baylor connection. So, guys, Utah has ruined their shot at getting the number 1 pick unless they start tanking right away and hard and do the work. You know, make the trade, do what you got to do. At minimum, Utah should be trading Svi Mikhailiuk. What are we doing? What is going on? Why is Svi Mikhailiuk getting any sort of play? Why? What do the Jazz gain? Why can the Jazz not trade Kyle Anderson for a can of beans? Why? And guess what? We're going to have George Niang come back and get minutes too. What are they doing? There's a world where Utah drops to 12, and maybe that would be. Some people love Bennett Sturts too, by the way. He's a guy. This draft has a lot of prospects, is the moral of this story. Yes, you want to win the lottery, and yes, I want to get the number 1 pick and take Darren Peterson. That's who I want. In my opinion, he's the best player. I don't think it's particularly close. Cameron Boozer, I think, would be great, and also DeBonsa. Those two, there is a little bit of question mark. Darren Peterson to me is just like, if you put him next to Keontae George, Utah's offense would be out of this world. But anyways, Utah's got to do what they do. Yes, if they win one of these picks, that would be great. But getting Koa Pete or getting Natum, people are losing. Like, Natum is dropping. I'm actually kind of disappointed the block is so low, but he does have 2.3 steals. I'm a Nate Ament believer because when I see him take the shots, I can see him taking those same shots in the NBA. They just don't go in. So it might be the idea of Nate Ament more than the reality, but I don't know. There's something about that guy. I kind of had it with, there's certain guys that I watch and I'm like, why? Like, for example, I'm really feeling vindicated with Yegor Demon at Brooklyn, who's shooting it really well. And when I watched him actually courtside. I was sitting near Danny Ainge at one point, watching Yegor Demon. I was curious to see what he looked like, and he looked good to me, and his shots weren't going in, but I was like, the form looks good. The vision is good. The effort is good. There's some question marks about the defense and stuff like that, but I could see it. And so I've been feeling very good about the Yegor Demon thing. Nate Ament to me is kind of the Yegor Demon of this draft, where it's like, you see it, the size is great, the measurements are great, it looks right, the shots just aren't going in. He's assisting the ball, 2.3 steals per game is great length, great size, 6'10". He's very skinny, but he jumps off the screen a little bit to me, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he has a strong second half of the season. He's a ball player. He knows how to play. I don't know. But the shot does eventually have to go in. We'll see. But anyways, I guess let's get into the Jazz here a little bit. Lauri Markkanen, 5 for 13. You know what? Let's do a little bit of deep dive here. Let's go to Lauri Markkanen. Let's go to game log for this season. All right. I kind of want to look at like when he's playing a good team versus a bad team. So a bad team absolutely rocked the LA Clippers that first game. Against this Sacramento Kings team, they played well. Lauri goes 4 for 13 from 3. 4 for 13, yep. Yeah, he goes 8 for 10, but couldn't shoot the 3. A little, you know, not the best percentage here. Phoenix, Utah beats them in overtime, plays pretty well. Against Portland, very good defensive team, 2 for 7. Does pretty well inside. Where's the freaking points? But he scores 32. Wow. Oh, there we go. Duh. 10 for 19. And maybe this is just proving me wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Phoenix, Utah loses. Markkanen goes 6 for 9 for 2, 4 for 11 from 3. Overall 50%, 33 points. The point production is crazy, but they're losing, barely winning overtime. This should have been a loss, by the way. The Jazz should have started 1 and 4, but, you know, life is pain. Against, let's see, was this Charlotte? Oh, that's right. We lost to the Charlotte Hornets. At Charlotte, he goes 9 for 18 from 2, 3 for 10 from 3. It's kind of a little bit of a trend here. He doesn't shoot the 3 well against good teams. Part of that is because he can't pull up. It's all catch and shoot. And so when there's good defense happening, it's not working. Against Boston, we should have lost this game. Utah should be 2 losses better. This is what pisses me off. So stupid. If Utah was just like even half wit with this stuff, they'd be at the 7 spot easy, pushing 4 or 5. So stupid. Utah is so stupid. Our owner and our manager right now are so stupid. I swear. Why is Svi Mikhailuk on the team? Get him off the team. What are you doing? It's so dumb. And yet we can't get Taylor Hendricks on the floor, by the way. What are we doing? We're so stupid. At Detroit, loses 8 for 22 from the field. This is one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. 8 for 22 from the field, 3 for 12 from 3. And this is like one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Potential like finals contender. Are you catching what I'm kind of saying here? It's fool's gold. And if you can get a great package for Lauri Markkanen, you should take it. All right? It's not as good as the numbers are telling you. It is fool's gold. It is snake oil. All right? And if you can fool these Detroit Pistons into trading you Asar Thompson and Tobias Harris and a pick, you should do that. You should 100% do that. Why? Because let's go over here. Stats home, right here. Advanced. Here we go. Utah, as of right now, oh, this is players. All right. We do this every game. Switching on me. All right, here we go. Offensive rating, number 1 offense in the NBA, Denver Nuggets. Where's Utah? Well, not there. Utah's at 20. Utah is paying Lauri Markkanen $46 million. He is the focal point of the team. His skill set is offense, and Utah's at 20. If you put all your money into an off-ball player who is not a good defender, just an offensive player, and you can't be above 20? And Utah's trying to win. What does Ryan Smith expect next year when they're trying to be competitive? What is the expectation next year? How much better do you think he's going to be? I'm telling you right now, the Lauri Markkanen numbers are so much more a sign of how good Keontae George has been than it is Lauri Markkanen. Because Keontae George is setting him up like on a silver platter, and he's just absolutely torching bad teams through the play of Keontae George and getting smoked by the good ones. Just can't get open, can't do anything. And because he can't play on ball in the half court, 3-point line extended, you can't give him the ball and run a pick and roll. He can't do it. The only thing he can do on ball is when you get him the ball against a mismatch in the post. But against the good teams that have size at all positions, it's not happening. Okay? Not saying Lauri Markkanen isn't good, and I know I sound like the big Lauri Markkanen hater. Maybe I just am. Twitter account, I should change my name to Lauri Markkanen hater. He runs in transition well. Catch and shoot threes, he's good. He's fine. He can't do a pull-up three, but he can catch and shoot. And he can cut well to the basket. Those are nice things. I don't know why we think it's okay that by the end of the contract, he's going to be making $52 million. And Utah's going to try to be competitive next year. This is not great. Number 20 offense in the NBA, and he's your best player, and his skill set is offense. Why is this not better? Right? Your big time money should go to focal point guys. Like, I would much rather pay 20-30 million to Keontae George and have a lot of like $5 to $15 million rookies on the roster than doing this. And you know what else? If we're not better than 20, why aren't we giving more run to Ace Bailey, running more actions for him to let him just figure it out? Because the offensive upside for him is higher, is much higher. Now, the other problem with having Lauri Markkanen be your focal point, and I guess this is just Lauri Markkanen bash time, but I, obviously the Jazz front office and owner aren't going to watch this. Probably not. But Utah's defense is now at 28. 28. Worse than the New Orleans Pelicans at this point. Lauri Markkanen is playing all these games and is actually one of the top players in minutes. At what point does he get some sort of criticism from people? I've talked about this last time, but the Utah Jazz, Ryan Smith, Austin Ainge, and these bozos, they are so lucky they are here in Utah and don't get the national scrutiny. Zach Lowe has not, the eye of Sauron, Zach Lowe has not gazed upon the Jazz very closely yet, but it will happen. And most likely, it'll happen at the end of the season if Utah gives their pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because if they do, you can bet that there will be a lot of scrutiny for Utah and a lot of questions like, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Why did you do that? For a team that has the number 28 defense in the NBA after tonight and the number 20 offense, and you didn't think getting a good draft pick was important? Do you think that you're going to go into next season and just suddenly magically get to 15-15? Because if you want to be a 500 team, your offense needs to be around 15 and your defense needs to be around 15. It's not super complicated. You look at these 500 teams, the Boston Celtics, the Memphis Grizzlies, look at these teams. These are teams whose defensive ratings are not very good. But look at this. New York Knicks, 14 defense, and they're a contender. So let's look at their offense. New York Knicks, number 2. So if you want to be tops in the league, you better be top 5 in something, and that's what the Knicks are. If you have defensive rating around here, your offense better be elite. But anyways, Milwaukee Bucks, 22. Portland Trailblazers, right around 500. It's not super complicated. Look at the offensive ratings here. Raptors. You right? How are the Jazz just getting into this spot magically? Through free agency? Through the guys we talked about? Like, you're just going to sign James Harden and that's going to somehow make things better? Clippers can't win a game. What are we doing? And yeah, the Jazz lost tonight. I'm glad they did, but this was a scheduled loss. You don't get credit for a loss on the back end of a back-to-back on the road in New York against a number 2 offense in the NBA. You don't get credit for that. That's the bare minimum. And what we get from this front office consistently, and Ryan Smith and ownership and Austin Ainge, is bare minimum right now. They haven't proven anything. What has Austin Ainge proven? What has he done? What has Ryan Smith proven? What has he done? Seriously, the honeymoon's over. And I actually have to apologize. No one stood up for this guy more than me. No one stood up for him more than me. No one. I honestly tried to see it from their point of view. And now when I look back, I was just flat out wrong. Because they were wrong. And me trying to be the Mr. Positive and look for the bright side, I was wrong. I look stupid. I look really dumb. Right? And I don't like it when people make me look dumb and stupid when I stand up for them. Does anyone else like that? Man, it's just not good. And so, guess what? If people want to save tweets from me, do it. I don't care. It's just like last season when they were doing stupid things and winning stupid games and putting their number 1 chance at risk. And I was complaining about it, and somehow that's a bad thing, I guess. Guess what? I'm happy for you guys to try to dunk on me again. If that means Utah secures a top 5 pick or at least a top 8 and don't lose their pick, then it was all worth it. It was all worth it. Because Utah will come out of this with another prospect, which they desperately need. The idea that the Jazz can have too many prospects or picks is simple-mindedness. It is just incorrect. You are wrong. This Utah Jazz team needs more talent, more wing talent, more athleticism, more energy, more defense, really. If anything, Utah needs to go look at this mock draft and talk about who can play defense. That's why Caleb Wilson, if Utah gets like 4, you got to be ecstatic, because I think you put Caleb Wilson in the same range as these other 3. I think there's 4 big-time prospects. Caleb Wilson, there's a lot of drafts he would have been number 1 easy. And this guy is like the stocks king. 3.3, let's see, 1.6 blocks, 2.2 steals at 6'10" power forward. The guy is a monster. And you put him, and he's got the leadership, and he's got that dog that you want, guys. I'm telling you. I almost want Caleb Wilson over, if I can't have Darren Peterson, it's just, this is a great draft to be top 4. This is a great draft to be top 4. A great one. And then there's other guys out here that might really show up. I mean, you got LeBaron Filan playing like out of his mind. Look at that, 27 points. There's just guys in this draft, guys. And so for Utah to be doing what they're doing is just malpractice. It's just idiotic. It's really dumb. All this for Lauri Markkanen, who the Ringer ranked as number 26, and that was a boost. I mean, come on. All right. Let's go back to whatever this was. Oh my gosh. I just want to get back to where Utah is proving that they're going to keep their pick. Utah needs to be at 5 at least to secure that pick, guys. They have to. If they do that, then they'll be okay. Man, how many? Okay, here we go. Markkanen against a good team, 5 for 13, 2 for 6. We know that's what he does. Doesn't play very well against good teams. And he's not a good defender. So, not surprised that he's a minus 33. Worst on the team, by the way. Svi Mikhailiuk, why is he on the team? Why are we playing him minutes? What does he do? 1 for 8, 1 for 6, 3 rebounds. But you can bet he's not losing his starting spot. Right? Yusuf Nurkic came back and his ribs were still kind of hurting, so we'll see how he does. But 6 rebounds, 2 steals. By the way, the Jazz have been incredibly healthy this year. I mean, Ace Bailey, they tried to pretend like he was some sort of sickness, but like, I don't know. I still don't know if I believe that. I still don't know. Ace Bailey, you know what? This guy needs more minutes, and I don't care what his percentages are. Even on nights where he doesn't play particularly well, it's still not horrible. Like 38%, yeah, not a good shooting night, but that's the worst shooting night for a rookie playing against the New York Knicks. Pretty good, to be honest. Honestly, we're encroaching on like Paolo Banchero numbers. Banchero hasn't improved. 2 for 6 from 3, and this was a bad night. Right? 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He leads the team in minutes, by the way, so I'm happy that he got the minutes. But when he gets on the floor and I see Svi Mikhailiuk never pass the ball, like, how are we giving him the leeway to take 0 assists? What is that? What are we rewarding here? We're talking about culture and trying to win. Svi Mikhailiuk doesn't make anyone better. He's just a shooter, which is fine. He's been shooting it well this season. But what's the point? And we get, like, someone was saying that Locke was talking about the Utah Jazz understand the importance of their pick. Do they? Because I've heard other things. Anyways, Keontae George, Utah played terrible tonight, and he still somehow shows just great talent. 18 points, 4 assists. This is one of his worst games, and it's 18 points and 4 assists, right? 7 for 7 from the free throw line. I'm getting to the point where I'm surprised when his percentages aren't good. Overall, he's been having such a great season. Tonight's not going to help a lot. He's at 33%, I think, from 3. But it's just going to get better. That's what's crazy is Key is playing so well. He's got to get some rest, actually. But you know what else would really, really nice is if Utah decided that building the chemistry between Ace Bailey and Keontae George was the right thing. Because they're the ones going to be playing long-term together. Kevin Love played tonight, and he shot the ball 5 times. The end. Isaiah Collier, 4 for 5 from the field. Actually nice to see Collier have a bounce-back game. 7 assists, 13 points. He actually played pretty darn well. Just a -5 and a blowout. So good for Collier. He had kind of been slipping there for a little bit, but nice to see him improve. Also, he shot a 3 today, and it looked good. Like, the form looked actually solid. I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty decent. If he can do that, then that's great. Guys, I think I'm just kind of out on... I don't know. I guess I shouldn't make any... Maybe Bryce Sensabaugh turns into something better. He did shoot the ball well in this one, but he's a -17. And I just don't know if he affects winning. I just don't get it. Oh, Wiggle, Keontae George has been our best player this year. It's not Lauri Markkanen. It's Keontae George. And the reason you can argue that is that when Keontae George doesn't play, what does Lauri Markkanen do? Nothing. Keontae George is giving Lauri a great season. What happens if we actually start building the chemistry between Key and Ace, and they actually just get these reps and start figuring each other out and get comfortable? Isn't that what we should be doing? Because they're the future. Like, honestly, guys, I want the Jazz to tank their butts off this year. And then next year, I actually want them to go for it. Even, like, I want them to try. I'm tired of pretending here's what I want. Trade Lauri Markkanen. That's what I want. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Trade Lauri Markkanen. Trade Svi Mikhailiuk. Trade Kyle Anderson. Trade George Niang. I don't care. The future is Key, Ace, and potentially Walker Kessler. And if you trade Lauri Markkanen, then you can be much more comfortable re-signing Walker Kessler because you will have the money from expiring contracts from other players. That's what I want. And then guess what? I want to add another great prospect in this next upcoming draft and then let those guys play next year. I'm fine. Let them go get some free agents that fill the gaps that they need, right? I don't mind. Go get Kristaps Porzingis. Why not? Who cares? But get Darren Peterson, get AJ DeBonsa, get one of those guys, and that's the team. and you just let them play together year after year after year, let them get better and better. And guess what? They will eventually be a championship contending team. And you know what? One of these other picks with Minnesota, the Lakers, Cleveland, and the Phoenix Suns pick, one of them is going to hit, and you're going to have one of those hit while you have your core built. But Utah has just not built this core. They've been Ryan Smith has been obsessed with Lauri Markkanen, obsessed, and it's hurting the team. I'm sorry. It's just reality. It's what they need to do. It's time. And in a weird way, this whole Giannis Antetokounmpo thing makes Lauri Markkanen look pretty interesting to some of these teams, because maybe you don't want to give as much to Antetokounmpo, who's in his early 30s. Maybe you'd like to give a little bit less, but still a nice package to the Utah Jazz for a late 20s Lauri Markkanen, especially like the team that we've all talked about, the Detroit Pistons. They can get a great player to play off of Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham, and that's their trio, and it's great. The Jazz need to think twice about what they're doing. This stuff is so dumb. To think that Lauri Markkanen is the most important part of this team is stupid. It's just not accurate. It's not good team building. You are what is it? Cutting your face off to spite your nose, or whatever the saying is. Missing the forest for the trees. It's dumb. It's not the way to go. I'm sorry. I like the guy. He's very nice. He's a good player. But he's not a player that you can be the focal point of a championship caliber team. It's just not the way it works. And we don't want to be putting our odds on like being number 9 or 10 again. It didn't work last time, and why would it work this time? Ugh. One thing that is, Filipowski played tonight. Not a lot to say. It wasn't like the biggest night, although he did have 8 rebounds, solid 3. He's just a very good off the bench big. And we say this every single night. I probably say the same thing every night, but he's just solid. Now, he's not a good defender. Got to figure out how to be a good defender. But if he can be just average, and sometimes you become a better defender when you're surrounded by better defenders. But at least offensively, Filipowski does some nice things. Walter Clayton has now had like 2 or 3 good games in a row. And that's cutting off your nose to spite your face. There you go. That was it. But anyways, Walter Clayton is playing really nicely. He hit 3 open threes in this one, and I think he's going to figure out how to be really nice. I think he is the future backup guard for this Jazz team. My dream scenario is Peterson, George, and then backup guard Walter Clayton off the bench, and then they can all 3 play together in different rotations. And I just think that would be really freaking good. And then Ace Bailey at the 3, and I guess if you can somehow keep Markkanen and just rest him the rest of the year, fine. Or, I don't know. But Utah has to do what they can to get into the top of this draft. They have to. You have to. If you don't do that, it's just such a mistake. It's such a mistake, guys. I can't tell you. All right, that's all I got tonight. I'm very excited. I get to go see Nate Bargatze tomorrow with Mrs. Hoops Nerd, and we are going to have a nice retreat. It's going to be really good. I thought it was going to miss a Jazz game, but I am not. But I will not have a video tomorrow night, so apologies in advance. But I will be watching Nate Bargatze. Hopefully he can be really funny. I think Nate Bargatze is definitely a guy that can carry the stage and can carry a team to championship. Nate Bargatze. But anyways, let's see what would happen in this lottery. We've seen what's happened recently. It's not been good. Guys, it's been so bad. What a frustrating season. And so unnecessarily so. For Utah to not be willing to make the right choices. Such a frustrating season so far. And by the way, all the people that come at me on the games the Jazz win and like, why can't you just be happy? Well, where are you tonight? Where are you tonight? All right. If the lottery was today, Utah sits at 9. They are currently giving their pick. Gotta get some new headphones. They are currently giving their pick to the Thunder, and it's the best possible pick the Thunder could hope for. Like, Sam Presti's got to be just laughing. Like, I can't believe these bozos, these bad front offices that can't figure things out. Why would they do this? It's so dumb. All right, let's see what would happen if the lottery was today. Utah drops to 11, gives their pick to the Thunder. The Memphis Grizzlies get the number 1 pick. The Clippers jump to 3, and the Thunder get the number 3 pick in the NBA draft. Why are we not trading with the Clippers to make them better? It helps the Jazz because the Clippers can pass up Utah. Why are we so stupid? I don't know, guys. I got to try to be more positive, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's give a shout out to these All-Stars. I love you, All-Stars. And I love my members so much. You guys are the best. Let's give a shout out to Steve Areno, Steve Stusser. It changed your thing. Let him cook sturdy pots. Ezekiel Ricibe, the man from down under. The Price is Right. Tyson Price is Right. Tyson Price. I'm screwing it up. See ya, Lex Slater, Jordan the Goat, Bessrel, Christian House Money to Haas, my man, Robert Hall of Fame, Arcs Poetica. I believe in Steve, Jazz Exile, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Kiefer 3 at PG with the assist on the saying, and Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Guys, the Jazz need to figure it out, and they need to do it soon, because they're gonna put me out of in a insane asylum. I'm gonna lose my mind. Like the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. How's that for an hour after a blowout? And also, go to Prize Picks. Use promo code HoopsNerd. I would appreciate it. I will talk to you guys